I just made a video about doing things that genuinely bring you joy and make you happy. And this next video idea is actually a good sort of transition into the topic. Doing what my brother and I are doing in moving out and starting a business and pursuing the things we're pursuing with the YouTube, for example, it's so uncertain. It's so uncertain. We don't know what's going to come of it. It's a scary thing. I'm excited to wake up every morning and get to work and do the things I want to do and building this business and stuff like that. But it's so, at the same time, I talk about it in previous videos, but it's very scary. It's a massive risk that we're taking, right? It could easily set us back. It could propel us forward as well, right? Depending on, I guess, what you consider successful or not. But I saw this video of Rick Rubin being interviewed by Andrew Huberman. As you heard, he talks about the idea of something being worth it. And that's a question I've been asking myself a lot recently. It's literally the question Andrew Huberman asked, right? It's like, how do I know if what I'm doing is worth it? The idea of worth it is reliant on an outcome. We don't do these things for outcomes, right? And it's perfectly said. It's perfectly said, and it's something I wanted to talk about in this video. And it sort of provided me a level of peace. Granted, and it's difficult as human beings with emotions and feelings for me to just say, oh, let me go watch that Rick Rubin video and I won't worry about the future, right? It doesn't work that way, unfortunately, right? I still worry about the direction of our business and the YouTube channel and where I'm going to be in a year from now. I think worst case scenario, like I'm homeless under a bridge in Italy, stuff like that. Like, it's crazy stuff, but maybe that's just me, preparing for all possible scenarios, which I do with anything in life. But back to the point, right? It's the premise, and what I take away from what he said is to enjoy the journey, to find purpose in the journey, to detach from the outcome, right? I always say it's a hard thing to practice. So I think the value in him saying that is to tell yourself, no matter what happens, it's going to be okay. And to that point, by detaching from the outcome, you let things flow. You let the energy flow. I previously made a video about this, but the energy in which you do things is so important. You need to acknowledge and dig into your subconscious and think to yourself, what energy am I doing these things out of, right? Because that is so incredibly important. Energy can be blocked, it can be transmuted, it can be moved in various ways, and you need to do things out of the right energy. And that's sort of my interpretation of what Rick Rubin said. It's like, if you're so worried about, let's say, making $1 million with your business, you're pushing a boulder uphill. There's so much more friction when you do it because you're so focused on the finish line. You're not worried about taking the first step that's right in front of you, right? You have to take things step by step. You have to, like I said, enjoy the journey, enjoy what you're doing in the moment. If you're doing something and you hate it just because you want to make a certain amount of money or whatever your goal might be, like I said, there's going to be so much more friction and it's going to be so much more difficult. You're making your life harder by doing that. And yes, it's important to set goals for yourself, but don't have that be the end all be all, right? Set a goal, set a timeline, and just take things day by day. Live in the moment and work towards getting better every single day. And eventually you'll wake up one day and you'll have achieved whatever goal it is that you want to achieve, right? That's the whole idea. It's almost to get so absorbed in the process and the journey that you forget what the goal is. And one day you wake up and it's like, holy, we did it. We made it. I think once you reach that point, you've achieved that practice of detaching from the outcome and enjoying the journey, because you almost forget what the goal is, right? You're so in love with the process. It's like, I don't even care what the goal is. I love what I'm doing every day. So that's the point I want to get to. I'm on my way there. I feel like I'm doing pretty good. I think in the back of my head, the challenge is, we have to take care of ourselves. But once we sort of break that threshold and we can, live comfortably with what we're doing from a financial perspective, I think we'll enjoy it that much more because there's maybe less pressure. Like, I almost feel, the clock ticking and stuff like that, which is not a good habit and not a good energy to operate out of, right? But it's hard, right? As human beings, we think about these things, and I got to be better with that. But and everything will work out the way it's meant to. I'm a firm believer in that. So, and I typically operate at a pretty good energy, but there's always room for improvement. So yeah, I think it's a really valuable piece of advice. The way Rick Rubin says it, he nails it. I think it's awesome. The response he gave to that question. So I think about that pretty often when I'm doing what I'm doing. So I think you guys should maybe go watch the video. I'll probably link it down below and interpret it as you will, and let me know what you think. And yeah, so it's a good piece of advice to live by.